Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bob, our Challenge Roth edition. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA, Fly Human Fly, SFuels, Right Fuel, Right Time, Master Spas, deboer Wetsuits, Premium Plus Sports, and of course, our Challenge Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Shane Smith, former pro triathlete. He's with Travel. How you doing, Shane? It's been a long time.
It has been, Bob. Good to see you, mate.
Always a pleasure. So, let's start with the pro career, all right? So, what era are we talking?
Oh, a long time ago. We were going back. I started racing back in 1990, and
okay.
Then went pro, raced at races at Japan Strongman, and
I was at Strongman.
Yeah. So I went over there. That's where I met Lothar Leader.
Okay.
And caught up with those guys, and then I raced at Ironman Australia and finished 6th and 7th there.
6th and 7th Australia.
Yeah,
nice.
that was back in 95, 96, around that time.
How did that transition to a career for you?
Yeah, it was interesting because I fell in love with both travelling as well as the sport, of course, and I've been involved in a long, long time. So it was about in 2000, I was the editor of Triathlete magazine in Australia.
Yep.
And a gentleman came to talk to me about a travel company specialising in looking after triathletes. I said, well, I've seen that before because Hunter's from Hunter's Hawaii Tours does that. Yeah. He's like the grandfather of triathlon travel.
Bringing people to Kona and everywhere
Correct,
else.
Yeah, and he was a really good friend of mine. So I rang him and said, do you think we should have a go at this? And he said, yeah, I think it would be great. So myself and Rod Morrison, we started Travel, and he was a little bit older than me, so he looked after all the travel aspect of it,
right?
And I looked after all the tour hosting, and we started in Kona way back in 2000 with 20 people. We now take about 300 or 400 to Kona.
Oh my God!
Yeah, and we started here in 2005, and this is our 20th anniversary. And again, we started with about 15, 20 people on our very first tour, and this year we've got 500 from people all around the world.
So every time I talk to people in the States, they hear about Roth, they go, oh, it sells out in 90 seconds.
It does.
But they don't realize that your group has rights outside of Germany to bring people.
It's been great because Felix and I, even when I worked for Ironman for a long time, even though when I was doing that with IMG in those days, Felix and I had a really good relationship. Yeah. So, and we were very keen to promote Germany to Australians. So we came up with this idea about setting up Challenge Roth tours, which was a part of Travel.
Right.
And what I ended up doing is we worked with other travel agents from other places around the world so they could market our product into their own country. So that way you got a local expert with this global idea of bringing more and more people into Roth. And Felix loved the idea, and this is our 20th anniversary. So while he's celebrating 40 years, we're celebrating 20. So it's really exciting.
Good for you. And I'm guessing you get repeat people. People come and they're like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Absolutely. Like, there's no race like this anywhere in the world.
No.
You've been to as many races as I have. I reckon I've done 1,000. You've probably done about 5,000. So I haven't seen a race like this at all. It's incredible. And to think that every year Felix and his wonderful team just keep coming up with better and better ideas to improve the event.
Yes.
So if you came here 4 years ago with us on Challenge Roth Tours and came this year, you're going to see a different race.
Deal.
Yes, exactly. I love the way they keep reinventing themselves. And that's exactly what we try and do with our tours. We try and reinvent ourselves all the time.
And it's funny because they put out surveys and say athletes, tell us your feedback. Too many motos on the course. I think it's too crowded on the bike. I mean, most race directors aren't going, oh, okay, we'll have less people on the course. No. We'll take less money in. Yeah. But they do.
Yeah, that's right. They do. So
let's make less money.
What I do love about Felix, though, is he takes that on and he just looks at ways of how to make the race flow a lot better.
Yeah.
So they're brilliant. His team are absolutely brilliant in working out where pinch points are on the course, how to start the waves really well. Like, I love the wave starts. It's great.
Yes,
and I miss the old days where we all used to just go.
Yeah.
Right? That was great. I did really enjoy that, but the way these wave starts work, it's
safe.
It's safe and it spreads the field out a bit. But what I love about this too is it's almost like a beer party getting interrupted by a triathlon. It's not the other way around.
No.
So everyone's here to have fun, encourage each other, and the atmosphere during race week here is incredible.
What I've always told people, most events exist to fill up hotels, right? this place has 14 hotel rooms
Yeah.
in the city
There's
of Roth.
nothing in Roth. No,
Exactly.
yeah.
So how do you do it?
Yeah.
Where do you put them?
Yeah, so we go to Nuremberg. So
Okay.
it's about 30 minutes away
Yeah,
by
it's
bus.
easy.
But we have 4 different hotels there, all different levels
Yes.
of pricing
Yes.
and standard. And then we've got a great bus company here we've been working with for 20 years as well. They're like family as well. And they bring 6 or 7 buses to each of the hotels, and we bring them into Roth each day. We bring them into bike to run transition
Right.
where they're checking their bikes and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. So it's it's a well-oiled machine, and it works really well out of Nuremberg.
So for people, I know next year, Tri Club of San Diego is bringing 25,
Yeah, wonderful.
which is very exciting. But I know Salt Lake City wants to come, Rocky Mountain wants to come,
Awesome.
LA wants to come.
Yeah.
Those guys can go right through you.
Absolutely, and the great thing is we can personalise it a little bit as well. Even though it's a big group of 500, everyone has their own little group. So
Right.
for example, this year Wind Republic is Luke McKenzie's company. He's brought 25 of his athletes with him.
Oh, nice.
So they come along. They're a group.
Is Luke coming?
Yeah, Luke's coming. He gets here Thursday, and he's going to have a run around with the gang.
Has
So-
Luke done this event?
He did 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, wait, what
So,
I'm talking about. He was part of our movie.
Yeah, yeah.
In
So,
2014.
that's great. Yeah, there
he
you go.
wasn't very
Yeah,
happy.
yeah.
He did not have a good day.
Poor Luke.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
so,
very great.
well, he's had some very good days, so I'm surprised to hear that. But
Yes.
but he'll get here. He trains with his group, and we look after all the logistics for him. So
Right.
so for coaches of the San Diego Tri Club or
Yes.
any of the Salt Lake City, they come along and they're still in charge of their group. We're just taking care of all the logistics for them.
What has been the toughest part of this with the travel?
The hardest bit for athletes when they come on their own. So let me describe this day
Yes.
for you. So you're not on the tour, you're staying in Nuremberg by yourself. So you get in your car, you drive to the swim start, you have to park in the big car park over at Hilpelstein.
Right.
You do the swim, you get on your bike, you ride your bike, and you finish at T2, which is about 2 kilometres away from here. You run the marathon and you finish just behind us at the finish line. You then have to go collect your bike, walk 2 kilometres, collect your bike, put it on a bus with all your kit bags, get on that bus, go back to the swim start to get your car, right? So
It's probably been towed.
yeah, it's probably been towed. So it makes for a long day. We take all that away from you. So what happens is we take all the bikes the day before the race to T1, and the athletes just check their bikes.
You guys
in.
have mechanics. I'm
Yeah,
guessing,
yeah, and we put them on big trucks and we move them all for them. Don't have to touch their bikes. They just check in. We once they finish the race, we collect their bikes for them. We collect their kit bags for them. So athletes who finish here can go and have a beer, get to this amazing finish line, watch the light show without having to worry about collecting their stuff. It's
And
brilliant.
with the bikes, do you ship all the bikes together
from each hotel. So we've got these really thick plastic bags that we put over top of each of the bags,
Yes.
put them in the back of trucks and move them. So in 20 years of doing this, I don't think we've ever damaged a bike. So
Wow.
we're very proud of that record.
So if you have a group from Tri Club of San Diego and they're all flying out together,
Yeah.
do they ship their bikes ahead of time?
They
or-
can. Some people do
Some
do
people
that.
do that,
Yes,
okay.
they do. Or look, a lot of Americans do that. They like to ship
Yes.
their bikes, but they also like to rent bikes as well. And we've got a great relationship with FBR. So here,
great,
yeah. So and they're a part of the event here, so people can rent their bikes here as
They're
well.
probably renting a better bike than they're
Probably,
riding.
yeah, exactly,
with
yeah.
better
So-
wheels
yes,
and
yeah.
a whole bit. That is, I just love that whole concept. I mean, you got to make it easy.
Oh,
you got to
yes.
make it easy for folks.
And we do a course orientation on the Friday. So we go down to the swim canal because it's only open for a few hours on the Friday.
Right.
So we go and do a swim there as a group. Myself and a couple of pro athletes come down and we talk about the swim.
Right.
And then we drive them over the bike course so they get a really good look at the bike course and understand what they're doing
Yes.
as well. So they get a lot of education about the event before they start as well.
Very good. Now, do you have any? So, is it primarily Kona and here?
No, we have.
Do Nice as well? and
Yeah, we're doing Nice as well. We have 15 tours around the world,
okay.
including London and New York Marathon.
Oh,
so
good for you.
so we do a lot of work in the marathon space now as well.
Now, for New York City Marathon, that has always been one of the toughest. Like for our foundation, Challenge Athletes Foundation,
Right.
there's a few races that our donors love to do.
Yes.
In New York, we usually are able to get 5 or so spots, but getting
Yeah.
spots in that now
It is tough. Yeah.
Now, are most of the people doing New York from outside?
They do, yeah,
Okay.
have to, yeah,
You have to,
yeah.
Otherwise,
yeah, it's what they call the international travel program.
Exactly.
And there's probably about 300 travel agents around the world who do that, but they all have to be within your region.
Right.
So this year we're taking 60 runners from Australia who will be going to New York plus their partners. So it's about 100 people going to New York this year. So in November.
How fun is that?
It's good. It's not a bad life, I must admit. So it's pretty good.
So now, what type of training and stuff are you doing now?
Oh, I'm struggling a bit, I must admit. I'm getting old. My knee hurts, my ankle hurts, my back hurts, my neck hurts.
I got an ice bag in my pocket.
Exactly. So I'm doing enough to stay alive, put it that way. So yeah, but it's good fun.
I bet you when you're standing at a finish line and you've got people, this is the first and might be the only time they go across that Kona finish line. Yeah. They cross this finish line. Yeah. That probably makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely. You know, my biggest regret out of, like, I've been around a long time, is that I was old and washed up before we really discovered Challenge Roth. I could not think of a better race to come and do. And it's an incredible experience, like, for everyone when they get over and see this. You can't put it into words. You have to come and see it. So I just always think, how proud would Felix's father be of the legacy that Felix and Catherine and Alice have put together? Like, really, what other family unit have been able to grow the sport and take it to the masses than them? It's been incredible.
Really. What I love is there was a point there in like 2011, 12, where they were like part of the whole challenge family. And Felix is growing this, and he was stressed, right? Because Felix wants to be here. Yeah, this is his baby. It is. So to say, okay, I'm going to give you challenge family. You guys go do whatever you want. Yeah. I'm just going to stay with Roth. Yeah. Because this is where my heart is.
Exactly.
That's pretty special.
And we're very lucky because we see the back of the back end of the race and how it's put together. He took my team, my tour leaders, on a tour 2 days ago around the whole village area, and just the amount of detail and the amount of work that goes into this event. I've been involved in ultra distance events from an operation side of things for 20 years. And there's nothing like this. His hospital that he builds in his big tent over there is absolutely incredible. It's got 56 serious beds in there to look after people. They can do blood transfusions. They have helicopters sitting around here just in case of an emergency. But the amount of detail that goes into this event is absolutely incredible. And he's the king of it.
Since both of us have been around a long time, I always look at events and go, okay, let's look at swim, bike, run. Is the swim just something to get from point A to point B, or is it iconic? Yeah. Same with the bike run. This is 3 iconics.
It is,
right? Yep. The swim, you got hot air balloons, you got classical music, you got the wave starts, you got hundreds of thousands of people. That's one.
And that cannon that keeps
going. Oh my God. Then the bike ride. You got Solar Hill. Yep. Enough said. Then you're riding through all these beautiful cities. Yeah. Then in the run, you got the beer mile, where you're like a mile of drunk guys that you're running between. This is a piece of grass 2 weeks ago. Yeah. They built a stadium for 10,000 people. Yeah, that you finish it.
Oh, it's amazing. And the fact that all the community gets behind it. Yes. I've never seen the community get behind an event as well as this. Like, we all know how much the locals do for Kona and even Ironman Australia events and all the rest of it. But here's next level. It's incredible.
6,500 people, waiting list
I know,
to be involved.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing.
But the other thing that I think makes this iconic is the whole relay concept. Because if somebody is doing swim or bike or run and has never done any of this stuff before, one, there's a good chance next year they're going to do 2 parts or 3. 2, now they feel okay buying merchandise.
Absolutely.
They're part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the silliest thing that more full Ironman races or 70.3s don't offer these type of offers the relays.
It is, sometimes I think logistically it's challenging but for race directors to get their head around on how to do it, but they seem to have wired it here so well. And it is really good. We have limited number of slots for relay. I think we only get 10 a year. Okay. But I know the 10 that do come here love it just as much as the individuals who are finishing, and they feel part of it. They get to run up the finish line as a team together, coming in there, particularly at night time once the laser show is going. It must be incredible.
You do the swim, you're out of the water in an hour, and then 12 hours later, you come and run the finish line.
Probably had 4 or 5 beers at the beer mile, and then you can run in with your runner. So
I like it.
If you get me back, I'd be doing the swim, I think. So
I mean, considering you're doing logistics and all the rest of it, does it ever get old for you?
No, I love it because the people are new every year. I take a little bit more of a back seat these days, to be honest. It's probably the first time I've done an interview in 10 years, but I kind of take a back seat. But I love being able to help people who are a little bit nervous about what they're about to take on, and just calm them and let them know that it's really, as Paul Huddle used to say, it's a long training day that's catered for.
It's catered. Yeah. Workout. Huddle got that from me. He stole that from me.
Oh, he stole it from you, dude?
Oh, of course he did.
That's not what he told me.
He's never had original. You know that. You know that. Okay, Rainer Mueller.
Yes.
You still beating him up?
No. I loved Rainer. God, that's funny. I'll never get rid of that, will I? Jeez.
Where was that? What was that race?
Oh, it was a long time ago in Hawaii. I think it was like 95, 1995. He'd come third the year before, I think, when Welshie won. So he was one of the favourites. So we just had a little bit of a how you doing in the swim, and unfortunately we both ended up getting ousted out of the race.
You got DQ'd, right?
Well, I did, yeah, but I technically didn't hit him. I missed him. I
swung at him.
Yeah, I swung and missed him. So,
if you get DQ'd, you might as well hit the guy.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. But no, I missed him by a fair way, actually. So, but anyway, it got reinstated, and they said it was a mistake. It was all good. So, unfortunately, I think Rainer had an asthma attack that year, and he had to pull out. So, but he was an incredible athlete.
He was one of those guys. We thought he was going to win that thing one of those years.
Absolutely. And that's one of the great things about this race too, is that that German-Australian relationship is real, because throughout the years of racing, we've had great relationships with the Germans. You look at the great race between Macca and Lothar.
Well, not only that, but Macca and Lothar here, right? Yeah. But also Macca, Norman, and Kona. That was a real rivalry.
Absolutely. But there's also been a mutual respect as well. And look, some of my happiest memories of training around the place, all around the world, is going riding with Thomas Alriegel and playing around with Jürgen Zach. Like, and when he came out to Ironman Australia, I think he danced all night with my wife and my sister. So yeah, that was a worry.
He's going to be here Friday at 1:30.
Yeah, he's a good man, Jürgen. So we've always had this really lovely connection with Germany. So when our business ended up working in with Felix, it just felt so natural. And I had a couple of old friends who did the tour the very first time. I didn't come on the very first trip. I think I was still working at the magazine and I couldn't make it. And I had 15 people here, and I'll never forget when they came back and said, "You got to build this race. This is the best thing you'll ever see, and best advice I ever got." It's been brilliant.
When we did the movie, and we were like looking back at classic races from Roth that year with Macca and Lothar, and it was like they're side by those similar to those Iron Wars.
Yeah, it was.
And I still remember Macca said, "Listen, I'm running with Lothar, and I'm like, I don't know how I can maintain this. This is as fast as I've ever run." And Lothar looks over and goes, "This next part is going to get a little fast." Yeah. And Macca's like, "The next part? What the hell? About the next part?" But that's pure racing. Seeing those guys laying on the ground, finish. That's mutual respect.
Like you said, it's Roth's Iron War, isn't it? Really.
It is.
So, and you think how many people Dave and Mark inspired to get into the sport? That's how I saw it.
No
I was lying in a hospital bed with a broken arm. I used to play football, and I saw that on television on Wild Water Sports, and I was going, "My God, look at these two guys! It's incredible."
They're dressed. One's in green, one's in yellow. Yeah, they look good together.
Very fluoro. It was not. It was
1 second apart. The whole time.
It was just brilliant. So that inspired a generation of athletes, as did Julie Moss as well.
Exactly.
And of course, Paul the Newbie Fraser. So I think here, Macca and Lothar's race inspired the next generation.
No question about
it. It's been incredible.
But I remember interviewing Macca in back in competitor days, and he was just saying, a lot of people were racing in the U.S. back then. And he goes, the real racing's in Europe.
In here.
And if you don't get over there and race those guys, you're going to get your butt kicked in Kona, because that's where the real guys are.
Yeah. And it's the setup here is just incredible as well. I spent a bit of time in France way back. We're talking 94.
Yeah.
But the way the clubs are set up and the professionals go and race for the clubs, and then they go and train and coach the junior teams coming through. I got involved in that for a while, and that's where Macca and Ben Bright and all those guys started, right? So Europe was a real attraction back then, and that's where the best athletes are.
Well, the reality was, I remember when Macca left being an accountant and came over, he says you could go and be part of a team, and you could race on Friday.
Yeah, and race Sunday.
And then take the overnight train, right? Because that way you wouldn't have to pay for a hotel, stay in the overnight train, and then race on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. You can make $1,000 in a weekend. And it was like, you feel like you're the wealthiest person in the world.
Yeah, and they don't do that these days.
No.
And I think they are missing out on something that was really special. I know I probably look at it with rose-coloured glasses because I'm old. When you look back now and you think, geez, those days were hard, but they made you tough because,
totally did.
and that's why those athletes were just the best in the world. I think of the Nick Crofts and the Maccas and those guys, Benny Bright, who all went over to France to just race 40 times in the summer.
Well, and the reality is, it's not like, I remember Crowe telling me, you're not leaving Australia to go to Europe or the U.S. for the weekend.
No.
You're basically moving there. You've got to be there for 6 months, and you're leaving your family. It's really, really difficult. But that's the only way you can make it back then. You couldn't make it in Australia.
No, that's right. No, there wasn't anywhere near the racing like that. So, no, it's been an interesting journey over the last 20 years.
Love it. Hey, thanks so much, man. It's such a pleasure to chat with you.
No, lovely to see you again, and thanks so much.
And let's work together on getting more U.S. over here next year.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm in.
Yeah, you can lead them. You'll be one of my tour leaders.
I love it.
Okay, done.
Shane Smith has been our guest. Everybody, again, Breakfast with Bob. We're here at Challenge Roth. We have a full slate of 30-some interviews over Thursday and Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.